Lisa, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Darcy. I'm very excited to be here today.
Yes. So the number one issue for pretty much everybody has been jobs, and we know that the unemployment rate in Miramichi is rather high. What's the plan for you within your riding to help bring the unemployment rate down and get some jobs into the riding?
Well, you're absolutely right, Darcy. We know that the number one priority is jobs, and that's the number one priority of the Liberal platform. So we need to jumpstart this economy here, and in the way that we're going to do that is by investing in infrastructure, and we're going to improve our roads, we're going to improve our bridges. And that's going to allow our goods to be able to leave the province and come into the province more easily. Not only that, when businesses are exporting their goods, they have to take into consideration the cost of transportation. So if we can, cut down on that cost, then maybe they'll invest more into added value to what they're doing. So that's the first and foremost thing that we're going to do. And also we're going to invest into youth, to an employment plan there, where we're going to be able to put 1,500 youth to work within 6 months of our mandate. And there's going to be a 4-month work experience and also a 2-month training. So that's going to allow them to be into the workforce, job ready, and hopefully stay on with whoever they are doing that work experience with.
You mentioned exporting stuff, so I guess that's a good segue into one of the major industries in your riding, which is the lobster industry. We know that the last couple of years has been hit extremely hard. I know that Brian Gallant touched on this a couple of weeks ago about helping with the lobster industry and the fishery industry in general. Can you kind of touch on that and what you're hearing from people in the riding?
Mm-hmm. The fisheries is one of the most exciting parts of the riding that I'm looking to represent, and I think first and foremost we got to make sure that we're market ready and that we're out there, we're promoting what we have. We're blessed here to have the fishery the way it is. Lobster, oyster, salmon, world famous salmon, bass fisheries. We have so much going on, and I'm so excited to learn about this, and I'm going to sit down with the people that are involved to find out what the needs are, what do they think we can do to help them as a province. And I think that line of communication is the biggest thing, because I'm not an expert in fisheries. However, I can meet with the experts, and then I can go and fight for them and work with them and try to promote them. They know what they need, and they have the best ideas. So that's where I'm going to get my ideas, and then I'm willing to go with them, and we're going to sell what we have here. And I think that's going to be a big deal for our tourism development market here as well. I think we're missing the boat on some of those initiatives that we have here. You talk to people from outside the area, they just can't believe that we're not promoting our river and what's in it so much better. Also in Neguac, I had the opportunity to go in and visit the oyster plants and to see what they're doing. It's amazing what they're doing, and it's clean, it's sustainable, and there's a demand, there's a market. We got to grow that, and it's amazing what's happening in Neguac. I was absolutely astounded at what I seen, and even down to the little boxes that they put the oysters in. They're made here in Neguac, and they're now selling those all over the world. So there's a great idea, and that's a great story that I'd like to promote, because there's so many things that we can do here that we don't even think about, and that is creating jobs and employment and allowing people to stay here, right in the area, right in the riding of Miramichi, Bay-Neguac, staying here and looking after their families. So it's something that I'm so excited to have, and I think that I need to learn more, of course, and looking forward to build on that.
The other major industry in this area, of course, is forestry, and there's been a lot of discussion lately about the future of the forest industry in Miramichi. What can a Liberal government do, what can you do to help kind of rebound that industry?
Mm-hmm. Darcy, I think the first and foremost thing that we need to do is to make it transparent as to what is happening. You ask questions, you don't get real answers. And it's time that, it shouldn't be our hidden treasure here. We should know what exactly is taking place with our forest. What's happening with the wood? What's happening with the crown wood? Is it leaving the province? Is it not? You hear till special deals being signed where they can transport crown wood to Nova Scotia, but yet we have Miramichi lumber over here that wanted to try to get rid of some of their lumber that they couldn't use here and to try to trade it off with Nova Scotia. They weren't allowed to do that. So, I need to find out what are the facts, what exactly is this forestry plan, and it doesn't appear to be a very popular one among many people here, many businesses, of course, with our First Nations. So it's the lack of communication. There could be some really good things there. I'm not saying there's not, but you know what? We need to know. And as the MLA for this area, I want to know. I need to know. That's what I'm going to be, responsible for. So I got to gather those facts, look at them, and see what is it, and how can my riding of Miramichi, Bay-Neguac, and the entire region here, the entire northern New Brunswick, and the province as a whole, how can we benefit? How can we do things better? And how can we manage smarter and wiser? For right now, but for our future as well. The forestry industry is not dead, but it's just not being managed well and not being explained well. So people are very upset, and they feel that they're not being told the truth. So we need to make sure that the wood that's here stays here, so that our people that work at our mills have the chance to stay right here. And as an MLA, I'm going to be sitting down with these mill owners and with the workers and with anybody who wants to. I'm going to be an open MLA that sits down, and I'm to be involved and to be part of the solution and to come up with ideas. We need to get our riding back on the map. We've been neglected for so long, and we've just been accepting what's coming our way. Well, I'm not going to accept that, Darcy. You know me well enough from what I do on council. People see me. People like the way I do my business. And it's time that we have a strong voice here, and the Miramichi team is going to make sure of that. And our people deserve to have the answers that they're looking for. Let's tell the truth.
Let's touch on shale gas for just a moment, because it isn't as big a deal probably in your riding as it is elsewhere, but obviously it's become a big issue provincially. There has been talk from the PCs about how Miramichi and the Miramichi area could benefit from it. Can you just touch on your personal feelings and your party's stance on that issue?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and shale gas, every door that I go to, and I've been to thousands of doors, and that is a topic that comes up quite often. And the high majority, and the 90%, are agreeing with the moratorium. And they're saying, we really wish it was safe, we'd love to have the revenue, but we appreciate that you're taking the time and doing the study to make sure that it's safe. And the most important job of any government is the wellness of its people. And that's what I take very seriously. So I'm in agreement with our policy on the moratorium to make sure that it's safe. When you have the risks up here and the benefits here, we have to make sure that switches. And we have to be sure. And Darcy, if it's as good as what some people believe, then a little bit more time, a little bit more study is not going to hurt things. But if we come across that it's not the best idea for New Brunswick, then that's what it'll be. We look at now at Nova Scotia. They just put on a ban. They had a moratorium, now it's a ban. So, they need revenue, same as we do. But there's other initiatives that we can pull from our natural resources. So with shale gas, my personal opinion is I need to know more, because I want to make sure that the decision that I make on that is the best one for everyone here in New Brunswick. And there's some problems that you have that you just can't fix. If a well goes bad, but there's royalty. Well, so be it. If your water's no good, it's no good. It doesn't matter how much money you give people. And, who's going to fight with these big companies? Can a little person do that? So we have to make sure we can't sell off our environment for the sake of making some money. We need to have a smart government that's able to look outside the shale gas box, but also continue to study it to see if it is a safe venture.
Your riding has a fairly large First Nations population. We know that the chiefs are suing the province right now. We know the situation with shale gas, with the opposition within First Nations communities. How do you see the relationship between the province right now and First Nations, and what you would like to see done to improve it or change it, or however you see that relationship?
Mm-hmm. When I looked at running in Miramichi Bay-Neguac riding, I looked at the diverse setup of it, and having 3 First Nations is a blessing to me. and I'm very lucky to have the opportunity to represent those three First Nations communities and to be able to, build on partnerships with the three First Nations communities. But the biggest thing that's lacking is the communication. And that, what they're doing is they're standing up for the rights of their people, but they're also standing up for everyone in New Brunswick, because they just want to see what's ever being done is best for everyone. So I believe that we stand beside one another, not against one another, and we can learn from one another. But again, it's the communication, and with this current government, it's the lack of. It's just to do things and not consult, and that's what, as an MLA for Metapanagia, Eel Ground, and Burnt Church, that's where I'm going to be alongside of them and to learn from them and look for their advice and their guidance in decisions that I make, because I believe they have the best interest of New Brunswickers, and so do I.
You represent, or you're looking to represent, a very rural riding where there's some challenges with the population and stuff. Education's becoming an issue, declining school populations, fewer children in communities. On the education front, what do you see for your riding? What are the priorities on the education front?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, education is such a gigantic word, and one that I absolutely love. So first and foremost, we need to sit down and talk with the teachers. They are the experts with their boots on the ground that know what's taking place in their classrooms. They are educated to know what is best, and we seem to bypass speaking with them and finding out what they need. We, as a government, we need to stop imposing things on our educators, and we need to include them in, right from the beginning to the end. They will tell us what's good, what's not good. They will give us the ideas. We need to listen to what they're saying. One important aspect also, we have to make sure that our literacy numbers are up. We gotta fight for our students. We gotta make sure that they have every opportunity to be able to read and write and to do it well, so that they're able to continue on in their life and to be able to find if they decide to go on to further education, or to the workforce, whatever they decide to do. But one thing that we need to do is make sure that the trades are in our high schools, and that they have the funding available for the equipment that they need to have in their classrooms and in their shops, so that they're able to learn there. And that's one thing that has been taken out. We need to make sure that it's back, but also make sure that it's properly funded, because not all students fit into the same box in a school. And there's so many students that struggle with literacy and struggle with math. But if you can pertain it to something that they're interested in, when you're doing fractions, it may not mean a whole lot just out of a book, but if you're in a shop and you need that to know for something you're doing with carpentry or with auto mechanics, or maybe sewing, or you're doing cooking, then you're able to understand it better because it means something to you. So we need to develop programs that allow students that just can't go from a math book to let them have a different way of learning, because everybody can learn, but just we learn differently. So we need to make sure that we're meeting the needs of every student and every learning style. And of course, with adult learning, I know I supplied in the schools for many years. I also taught GED. I also taught workplace essential skills. I also did the over 50 program. So I understand that adult learning is just as important, and I'm a committed lifelong learner myself, having gone back to university, completed my degree in adult education. So I just see such a need there. And I also used to facilitate personal and career development courses that allowed people that were home the chance to come in and learn about different things and different avenues that they can take to improve their literacy skills, but also improve their workplace essential skills. And I'd like to see some of that come back into our programming, because that's where you're meeting people where they are. And Darcy, one thing that I believe is that there are people that really don't have a lot of positive things in their life. And when they can come into a classroom where they feel safe and they have people that believe in them and a teacher that believes in them, it can change their world. And as an MLA, I want people to know that I believe in all of our people here, and that I'm willing to be the change that I want to see. And I just want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to live the best life possible.
And the final thing I have, obviously, is a bigger one, which is healthcare and senior care. It's a huge part of the provincial budget. It's also a huge part of the discussion at this election time. What do you see as a future for both healthcare? And we've heard a lot this week about senior care. Where's your stance? What do you see for your riding in particular?
Mm-hmm. Well, Darcy, and that again is such a big problem that we have, and one that we need to stop neglecting. It's here in front of us, it's happening in front of us. We have 14 and 15 people laying on stretchers in the emergency department at our hospital. That's not healthy. That's not wellness. People that are sick, that, so many people end up sharing a bathroom because they're not in a room that has, one maid available. So we also have, of course, like you say, the seniors, the senior care, and that's where we have so many people that should be in nursing homes that are in the hospitals, and they're taking the space of people that are sick, and then they can't get in to get the help that they need. And one thing that I've consistently heard on my travels as well is that the healthcare professionals are feeling defeated before they even walk into the hospital, into the building, and they're overwhelmed by what's taking place. So we have to go in, we need to look, we need to evaluate, we need to see how can we do things better. And again, where can we get that in? Where can we get that information? From the people that are working there, from the doctors, from the nurses, from the janitorial staff, from every single aspect, from the management, and listen to what they're telling us. If we would just stop and listen and act on what we hear, we could solve so many problems. There's numerous ways that we can save money. But, with budgets, people are afraid if I don't spend my budget, it's going to get cut next year or whatever. That's the way of life. But we need to change that attitude. And we need to make sure that their needs are going to be met, and we're going to find ways to meet their needs, but we need to work in a different way. We have a different economy today, and we're all responsible for that. But first and foremost, we need to listen, we need to communicate. It's exciting that there's been an announcement for the nursing home in Neguac. That's wonderful news, and I certainly am going to see that go through. So that's wonderful. There's talk, what's going to happen here in the Miramichi, and I do represent a part of the city as well, and part of the region. So we definitely need to make changes here. It's very disheartening to know what's taking place in our senior homes. The needs are not being met, the basic needs. And we have such wonderful staff that care so deeply about what's taking place. But yet no one's listening to what they're telling us. So that's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be an MLA that listens and then enacts on that. Another quick note, we also have the home care specialist and the people that are going into the homes and staying with people that wish to remain in their homes. Obviously they're not being paid enough for what they do. And they are essential to keeping these people at home and living the end of their life in a comfortable, safe fashion. And we need to make sure that they're paid for what they do. And they're wonderful people. So we're lucky that they want to do that job. So, I want to sit down with those groups of people. I want to, again, like I say, the key word, I guess, is listen. But listen to what their needs are and find ways to make it better. And that's how I'm going to start, Darcy. I'm going to start by sitting down with anybody that wants to sit down and try to make things better here in Miramichi, Bay-Neguac.
That's all I have. I'll give you the chance to have the last word and to tell people why they should cast their vote for you.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Darcy, for giving me this opportunity. And to the people in Miramichi, Bay-Neguac, I just want to say thank you for believing in me and giving me such great support throughout this campaign. I ask for your support. I ask for you to vote for me because I'm choosing hope over fear. And I want to make this region so much better. And I know that with your help, I will be able to do that. So I ask for your support. I ask you to vote for Lisa Harris on September 22nd. And then I ask for you to continue with me, guide me, give me advice, and let's change this riding around. And let's move New Brunswick forward. Thank you.
Thank you.